5:30.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Well,
Everybody got their sound off?
20 seconds after. Trying to take a look at this. Give me a chance. Yeah, I'm not even ready yet.
Welcome to the club today.
Hey, Charlie.
Hello, Russ.
How's it going?
Moving right along.
The meeting will come to order. For public information, a copy of the Open Meetings Act is pasted in the back of the meeting room on the east wall. If anyone needs to see that or read that, it's back there. We'll have roll call.
Harris,
Here.
Knapper,
Here.
Meyer, Reisig,
Here.
Blue,
Here.
Okay, let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Miss Kelly, I will turn my phone off. So,
you heard me ask, right?
yeah. So, a couple of the announcements that I always like to make. Remember, and a reminder to all that this meeting is being recorded. It's recorded to be broadcast at a later date. Remember, whoever wants to speak, be sure that you're recognized, and then you need to come forward to the microphone so that your information that you have to tell us can be recorded for the broadcast later. Remember to state your name and spell your name. It will assist the county clerk with her preparing her minutes. Remember, we have no swearing, no inappropriate language. We all need to check our cell phones, as I'm doing now, and have it on silent or off, and so that it doesn't disrupt the meeting. Also remind commissioners as well to try and speak loud and directly into your microphone. Depending on how long the meeting lasts, I think it might be fairly short. But depending on how long it lasts, we'll take a break if we think we need to after we get an hour or so in. Okay, I think that's all of those announcements that I need to make. The first item is approval of the agenda or consider any modifications. Clerk, Ms.
I
Clerk?
don't have any changes.
Nothing from you? Anything from commissioners? All right. Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Okay,
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda as presented. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote.
You have 4 yeses?
All right, motion's carried. We want to mention at this time that the board reserves the right to enter into a closed session if deemed necessary. I don't believe we have any executive session planned at the end of the meeting that we normally would have it at that time. But just in case something comes up where we think we need to, we reserve the right to do that. The next item is the consent agenda, and items on the consent agenda are intended to be approved by one, or unapproved, I guess, by one action for all of these items, unless a commissioner wants to consider one separately. Any thoughts on the consent agenda?
So I just
Kelly just whispered in my ear that this is an updated,
The
Consent agenda?
the pre-approval went down by, which is the one that's on the outside of here. What's the amount? It went. It went from 676.16 to 676.82.
So are you saying $6,000 approximately?
I'm saying
70,
$70-ish, and it went up, not down.
okay?
the other question I was gonna have was for Brenda. I noticed in 2024, we paid rent at the Legacy of the Plain in February and have not seen a pre-approval item come through on anything related to rent this year. I just wanted to make sure that that wasn't the item that changed here.
No,
You said the item.
no, I think it was just a matter of Lisa getting through the claims. You know, my office enters the claims, and then Lisa reviews them for you guys.
Okay,
I'll make a
Alright.
motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
all right, I have a motion to approve the consent agenda, and that would be with the, change in that pre-approval list. All right, any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote.
You have 4 yeses.
Okay, motion's carried. We'll go on to the next item, it's part of Board of Equalization. So we need a motion to go into Board of Equalization.
I'll make a motion to go to the Board of Equalization.
I'll second it.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to go into Board of Equalization. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
You have 4 yeses.
Motion's carried. So the item is receive the tax list corrections. Is anyone here to talk about that?
I'll do the best I can if you have a question.
Okay. Are there any questions concerning the,
It looks like they were all fair players that they cleaned up and corrected.
yeah. Okay. If not, I entertain a motion.
So I move that we accept the, tax list corrections and approve them.
I'll second.
All right, so we have a motion and a second to receive the tax list corrections. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote.
Okay, you have 4 yeses.
Motion's carried. So we're gonna need a motion to go out of the Board of Equalization.
Well, I move that we go out of the Board of Equalization.
Or
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Hearing no discussion, we'll go ahead and vote.
I'll be right there. I was just making sure I didn't need it.
Okay.
You have 4 yeses.
All right, motion's carried. So the next item is Road and Bridge. Steve, you wanna come up? The first item and only item on this is discuss and consider certificate of completion resolution for statewide stop sign agreement.
Yes, excuse me. If you recall, back in October of '23, we entered into an agreement with NDOT to upgrade our stop signs at certain locations. We submitted 71 locations. In this agreement, they paid for the signs and the posts. Our simple task was to install them, and we had to have them installed by June of '25 this year. So this resolution, it was a little over $14,000 worth of posts and signs that we put in. It included the reflective tapes you see on the stop signs down below the stop signs now, like what you see on the state stop signs. So they were stop ahead signs, some were both. So this resolution simply is stating that we completed that program, and that its signs are all up, and they just like to have a resolution from the commissioners saying that we completed it. So I think you all had a copy of that in your packets. I can read it, or if you want, or it's pretty simple, so.
Straightforward.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's no,
Sometimes I'd like to, have you read them because of the recording, but I think this one's straightforward enough that we won't need to do that.
okay. So I think we just simply need a motion to accept the resolution, and
Okay?
I'll move to accept the resolution for statewide stop sign agreement.
I'll second it.
Alright, so we have a motion and a second to approve the, resolution for the statewide upgrading of the existing stop sign locations on rural roads. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote.
You have 4 yeses.
Okay, motion's carried.
okay, thank you.
Looks like that's your only item, huh, Steve?
Yes.
We just started on this
We all need to sign out.
Alright, the next item is, receive presentation regarding Region 1 Behavioral Health Authority, Lisa Simmons and Jennifer. Either one here? Did you expect someone here, Miss?
one. I
Yep.
did.
So I see we have a written report.
I can follow. Okay,
next
so
time.
they had to reschedule because of weather last meeting.
Right,
And the time before that, I had them in your packet, but I didn't have them on your agenda,
okay,
so they weren't able to appear on that one,
so you
Well,
wanna get back in touch with
we'll
them
try
and,
it again.
alright,
Thank you.
I think, without them being here, I'm not sure we need to go through this. Any other thought on that?
I think they had things to say, so.
Yeah, so we should give them an opportunity to be here, I think, for that. So do we need to take an action, on this, Jason? Just simply,
I think it could just be rescheduled
okay,
to give them an opportunity to make the presentation.
alright,
Thank you.
so we'll take no action on that. Okay, next item is discuss and consider the appointment of Marvin Floyd to the Tourism Committee. Brenda?
I met with Mr. Floyd the other day and learned an interesting tidbit. It so happens that Mark Overman was the best man in his wedding. So surely we'll get along good with this guy, huh, if he knows Mark. So although Mr. Floyd is not currently in the tourism industry, he's had a lot of experience. I did include his resume. As you can see, it's quite impressive, and in the past 20 years, he has been in the travel industry, and then he has also, well, he's in the travel industry, he has been in transportation and lodging. So transportation is just something we don't talk about a lot, but it is a very important part of tourism. And he was the general manager then for VRBO. And he has personally owned his own VRBO in Colorado. And so he would fulfill the new at-large position on the board And it is the recommendation of the nomination committee that we, proceed with filling Mr. Floyd with the vacancy.
Okay. Very good. Any comment from the audience? Not seeing any comments from the board? Go ahead.
Certainly in favor of this one. His resume is really impressive. His experience with information technology, information systems, the rental by owner, industry, and his experience in the airline industry as well, reservation systems and that sort of stuff. He certainly understands data, and that is one thing we're trying to do, is move more towards a data-driven decision making. So having him on board is certainly gonna be beneficial.
I would only tell you that, Mike and I both go to the same church, and it's the same church that Mr. Floyd has participated in recently, and, we've really liked him as a church member, but I wasn't aware of all of this, and, it really is impressive, and, his experience in all kinds of areas, would certainly be an asset to any organization, and, I think he would be particularly fitting to be on our tourism board, and I certainly would be in favor of it. Any other comments? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept his application.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second to approve, Marvin Floyd to the position on the, tourism, committee. And, so any other discussion? If not, we go ahead and vote.
You have 4 yeses.
Okay, motion's carried. And then, Ms. Brenda, you have another item, discuss and consider bylaw change regarding when the board will meet.
Okay, and I sent that to you as well, only I didn't highlight the bottom, and I apologize. But the top one, the difference between the two is that the top one talks about it being a quarterly meeting in January, April, July, and October. And the committee would like to go back to meeting on the second Wednesday of every month at 1:15 in the afternoon in the North Commissioner's Room. And if the meeting is not necessary, then the chairperson of the committee may cancel the meeting. So the bottom is the new requested bylaw. We're just changing it back with a little bit, just the last sentence is the only part that's different. With the chairperson, having the authority to cancel the meeting if necessary.
So just to give you guys some background, you probably wonder why this bylaw change is coming in front of you again. We had just recently, we had changed the bylaws to go from, when we were monthly meetings, we changed to quarterly meetings. The idea was with a different grant, application process, we didn't need to meet as often. The tourism board felt that because we're filling vacancies on the board, there will be some orientation and some, bringing up to speed of the new members that would be, couldn't happen without, monthly meetings, so. That's why, we've got the back and forth on these bylaw changes, but, I do believe this is the will of the committee, so, I'm supportive of it, and, we definitely want our, committee members to be well orientated and up to speed on what their duties are,
So, is there a second?
I'll second that.
All right, any other discussion on this item? All right, hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote.
You have 4 yeses?
All right, motion's carried. All right, thanks. All right, next item, discuss and consider appointment of Wayne Brozick to the Planning Commission. Bill?
So, before we get started, I just wanna say for the record, the Dave Luce zoning change that we had 2 months ago, and it came up and we did table that, I just wanted to let you know for the record that Dave withdrew his zoning change request because he did sell that lot to the neighbor to the north. Dan Romish was his name, by the way, Russ? Danny Romish.
That's right, that's right.
Very
Good job.
Yep, so it worked out the way we hoped. I just wanted that for the record, so we knew, everybody knew what happened there. So, as towards the appointment, we had a vacancy, so, we always advertise in the newspaper and I leave it up on the website. And the only one I had any response from was this Wayne Brozick, so, just requesting we appoint him.
All right, any comments or thoughts from anyone in the audience or commissioners?
Does anybody know him? Do you know him at all?
He was here at protest time, wasn't he?
Yeah, I believe that's right.
And he's involved with the Paradise, car wash.
Yeah, he's a car wash and they have a pumper service, sure.
And related businesses.
Yeah.
Isn't he?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really.
My first
then-
question to Billy was, how'd you get him?
Yeah, cause his resume looks pretty good.
He's
too.
the only one that contacted me. He's the only one that showed interest.
And wasn't he also somewhat involved with the property out at the lake?
Yeah, he bought
Yes.
that, both
Yeah.
the old,
Used to be Splickles.
west,
Oh,
east of the boat club.
Yeah, the one that's
Alan
east.
Cal
Okay.
Splickles' old place there.
Yeah.
Yep.
So he's the one we're talking about?
Yep.
Okay, that's what I thought,
Yeah, you're right.
alright. So did we get a motion yet?
Not yet.
No.
Okay.
Well, I move that we approve, Wayne Brozick for the position on the planning commission.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second to approve Wayne Brozick to fill the position on the planning commission. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote.
You have 4 yeses.
Motion's carried. Next item is discuss and consider the reappointment of Roger Beidle, Jerry Thurman, and Bill Weinman to the planning commission.
Yep, just more bookkeeping, just need to get these guys reappointed for another term. They've all had 6 years in, so,
And they're willing to do that.
so far.
Okay, good. Any comments? Yeah, they've been on for quite a while.
Yeah,
I've had some nice visit with Roger Beidle, this last year with building and zoning and, he's really enthused about, he really takes a lot of responsibility and I think he's a very good representative.
He is.
and he's on our subcommittee also. We have a zoning amendment subcommittee. He's one of the members of
I
that.
think you have a good crew there.
Very good crew. Like to keep them all back.
So I move that we approve the reappointment of Roger Beidle, Jerry Thurman, Bill Wyman to the planning commission.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Alright, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote.
Appreciate it.
Bill?
Thanks, Bill.
Bill?
You have 4 yeses?
I would like you to, carry some.
Motion's
back to the
carried.
guys that- yeah, our appreciation for, sitting on that board for all the high pay they make.
Right.
But we do appreciate their service.
You bet. I'll pass the word on. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Okay, we're up to old business, time clock plus and payroll processes. Lisa?
I did some testing with the software update that they gave us, and it looks like it's in a better place. So I've requested the next meeting, and if everything is going good, we'll get everybody set up and start doing some test runs with departments that have already expressed that they are willing to try, so,
Okay,
yes.
Good news.
alright.
Sounds good.
Alright, very good. So the next item is public comments. The Board of Commissioners will receive public comments on items discussed at this meeting or suggestions for items of discussion at a future meeting. The board will not take action on comments presented as of this date. Is there anyone here concerning this item? Any public comments? All right, seeing none, we'll go ahead to the next item, which is board and staff reports. With any discussion, we'll start, Miss Lisa, maybe we'll start with you and go around the room that way.
We have a health fair coming up. Just a reminder, I think it's, I'm sorry, I have to look at the calendar, it wasn't. The 18th?
I think it's the 18th.
March 18th.
Yeah, that makes sense, March 18th. So, and we're offering a blood panel, basic blood panel for employees and spouses who are on the plan. Need to call for appointments, have Regional West coming in to draw the blood. And then we'll have some vendors here for some local health agencies that people can learn what kind of programs they have and how it might benefit them. And I'm sorry, Kelly, I'm supposed to be sitting up. That's all I can think of right at the moment.
Okay. Jason, anything?
Just on a question that came up at a prior meeting, I've just sent a memo to each of the commissioners just to review on the issue of abstention for everyone's review, and if there's any questions, I'd be happy to speak to you about it further.
Give us a short version of what that says.
So the research that we did indicated that no vote is necessary for a county commissioner to abstain from voting. That the Nebraska Accountability and Disclosure Commission has issued numerous advisory opinions on the topic. The Nebraska Attorney General's office has issued a similar opinion, indicating that while someone can voluntarily refrain from voting, as was done at a prior meeting when you felt there was a conflict, that it does not require a vote. And I think one of the reasons for that is that an individual may abstain and cannot be compelled to vote. So I think
So you don't even have to hit the abstain button, you just can be silent, or do you have to still vote?
I need you to abstain just for the system, but they don't, what he's telling you is the rest of the board doesn't need to vote that it's okay for you to do such.
Oh, ahead of the vote. I'd wondered about that, cause I'd never seen that done.
We can't vote to, and then make him vote.
correct.
We can't vote to make him vote. So, is what, yeah.
So we just proceed and I abstain and that's all there is to it.
Yes,
If I have a conflict.
yes.
Right.
But I still need to name the, item or article that I'm abstaining from, right?
Yes.
Right. Yeah, I think the person, whoever's abstaining ought to at least say so and letting, county clerk know in advance that they'll be abstaining. And I don't know that it's required for the reason, but if they want to, they can, I guess, and if,
But
I don't know.
typically what you're doing is pulling one of the claims, and it helped me to know what you're gonna take action on separately, is the only thing.
right,
If I ever get called on that, I wanna be sure that I have verification, I never voted for my own
Right.
deal, cause
And
I do, the county's gonna be buying some tubes and things from me, cause I got the, kind of the dealership for all the, culverts and things.
there's absolutely times when we probably have conflicts.
Yeah.
And if we do, we need to say so and then not vote if we feel that we have a conflict.
Correct.
But
And
we
even
don't,
I think even with the vote the last time, it was clear that you were abstaining and the reason for that, and while it was approved, it would be the approval that wouldn't be necessary, but it wouldn't have changed the result since you still abstained.
As long as I, abstain from the correct, check number, vendor number, or whatever, so.
Yes.
Very good.
okay? All right, Sheriff, do you have anything?
I do not.
All right, Kurt?
Of course he does.
This next month's gonna be busy for you gentlemen, to assist me. I was speaking to Mike Commissioner Blue earlier, we've got our AARP group community flagship grant program application going in, tomorrow. That's for some non-federal funding for our shelter project. We're trying to get 6 shelters put in. If we get that, then we can apply for a match, 80% match to put those in. If you would like to look, the folks from Olson really helped us put together a nice packet presentation, pictures, fill out the application, all the demographics. Commissioner Blue had asked that I forward it to him just for his purview and look at it. If any of you would like it, I can just throw it out to all of you. If you don't want to look at it, that's fine. It's just for your information. Then by next meeting, probably in the next day or two, I will forward you our completed, finalized master agreement between the state. It's actually between us and Route Match software for a 5-year contract for our software. It's been a 3+ year process with acquisitions, so I'll send it out. I'll put a few notes on it. It's for your information. My goal will be to have it on the agenda for next meeting, for you to approve, come back with questions, whatever. And I'll put some notes on, because the big thing is when you start looking at the numbers, the state has set aside CARES Act money still for our startup costs. That's to get the initial addition of all the new features that we'll have. Our online booking software, our automated calling system for trip reminders. That's over, on this, it's just under $58,000 that the state has set aside for 100% match. And then the year over year, you'll look at these numbers on this, the county's portion of that is 10% for these. So it's a big number, but it's 10% of that number. But I'll send it out for you to look at. If you have questions or concerns, if you get back to me as soon as possible. Ideally, we could get it approved next meeting, because they already have the implementation team blocked out. And if we don't get it in by the end of the month, it could push implementation back for another several months. And the other question on that is, so I can word it correctly on the agenda for next time, is based on the fact it's a 5-year contract, just I guess if you would send your preference to me, and I can have Kelly visit with you as well, if we can just do it as a board approval, ratifying, however you word the agenda item, to ratify my signature on it, or if you would rather have it read so the chair signs on it, or all of you. So we can address
I
that.
think a minimum the chair should sign on that.
So it's, because we're, like I said, you're talking a 5-year contract. If we can set up for the chair's signature, that's fine. I just need to know how to word it so the agenda reads correctly. So if we're all in agreement and it works, we can get it executed and lock in that implementation team. Cause you're talking, over $300,000 over the next 5 years. But again, most of that is state and federal reimbursement. Okay. And then once that's done, I just got my 5-year transit development plan draft back from Olson, with all of my information. Then I have to go through that, including our 2-year operating agreement budget. I'll be bringing both that 2-year operating agreement and the transit development plan to you for your approval, so I can put out the public notice saying that we're applying for these funds for our next 2-year operating cycle. And that's all gonna be in the next couple weeks. It's all supposed to be done by actually March 21st. We might have to slide a week past that, but I'm gonna aim for March 21st. But when I get these to you, please send me any comments, questions, and if I don't know the answers, I'll work with NDOT to get that to you. So again, please let me know. I'll just send this grant application out to you. Look for the contract as soon as I get the clean copy from them. And it's a lot of legalese, a lot of terms and conditions, but the big one is there's a chart, spreadsheet with all the numbers that might be of interest to you. And that's all I have. Okay. Appreciate it. Steve? Yeah.
You have been on the mic tonight.
Just a couple things. We set a big tube, 50 foot by 12 foot tube over south of Morrill this morning. That went really well with the crane and getting power shut off. We had to have WAPA cut off some major transmission lines. So I got some pictures and video of it. I'll send it to you, some pictures to you in your emails. So hopefully they're not too big and you'll get them. So, the other tube on County Road 19, that's going along well too. We approved that bid here like a month ago for that Mark Chrisman trucking. Those tubes are set and they started doing a little backfilling and they're hoping by first of next week we'll have those head walls poured.
What
So it's
location again was that?
County Road 19, just north of County Road G.
Oh, yeah.
What was the first one?
It'd be on County Road 9.
Thank you.
So, that's about it. So,
Okay, appreciate the update. Suppose you two ladies don't have anything for us. Miss Kelly, if you'll put that crown on, you can speak.
Yeah, please do.
Oh, go ahead, yeah.
I wanted to remind you, we have the Panhandle District meeting in Bridgeport on March 26th, I believe, yes?
Yeah.
And then regarding my special election, if I can call it mine, sorry. Looks like we are sitting at 27% return on ballots sent out right now.
And what is the last date that they can be received by?
The last date and time, election day is March 11th, and with it being by mail, the deadline is 5 p.m. to my office.
And they can't be postmarks.
If they take it to the post office on the 11th and get the postmark seal on it, it has to be in my hands by 5 o'clock.
So if it's postmarked by the 11th, but you don't receive it till the
12th or even the next day, right? Because, I mean, what I'm seeing is I am seeing same day, Scotts Bluff postmarks, same day. So the postmark may read the 11th and I will accept it with the 11th, but it's only if I got it March 11th by 5 p.m.
It has to be here.
It has to be in my hands, yes,
Regardless of the postmark,
correct.
it has to be here.
You can't take it to the post office on the 11th and count on
Expect
me
it.
getting it,
Right,
is the thing, yeah.
right.
That is all I have.
Chairman, I had one comment I forgot to say.
Yeah.
I had at least a couple comments that they were, of people that were very appreciative of the late start.
Oh, yeah, when we did the late start, when it was real cold, yeah.
Yeah, I had
All right.
people specifically say, please let the commissioners know, we
Yeah.
really appreciated not having to be here till 10. That one day.
Appreciate you letting me know. I'm not 100% sure that I would get real excited about that again, but, anyway,
If it hadn't messed with a meeting, I would have rather you sent us home that day than,
rather than,
than the late start the
Early.
next day, honestly.
I know, there's
But
several little issues that was mentioned to me after the fact, and
I think we
that
all
maybe
fine.
would have changed my, thought process a little, but anyway,
And in the end, we said it was for, I had misspoken too, that it was for those, we didn't have to grant it to everybody, but we
Right.
had to get those who were on the schedule that day,
right,
would get
so,
the extra.
appreciate that, yeah. Alright, so I guess we're to commissioners, Charlie?
So, got a little bit of a situation, and what I'd like to do is just explain to you guys, have you guys give me the yay or nay straw poll kind of thing. And Melissa can talk about it, she can kind of tell you what the tourism committee said about it. But we missed an action item on the agenda, it wasn't on the agenda, but it should have been on the agenda. The tourism committee voted to, agree to purchase a software called Placer AI, a 3-year agreement, $25,000 the first year, $27,000 the second year, and $30,000 the third year. Each of those costs will be split in half with TCD, who's willing to pay the other half, partner with us on the software. But because it's over that $10,000 mark, this board needed to take action on it. It did pass the tourism committee unanimously. This was a, suggestion that I brought to them. reason I need to bring it up here tonight is because TCD meets before we meet again. And I need to be able to inform them that, that the county has agreed to do this with the caveat that they agreed to do this. So, we don't have an action item on here now, but, maybe we could kinda do a straw poll, say yay or nay, and we can ratify it at our next meeting. But I need to be able to give some sort of indication to TCD on where we are to hopefully move forward with this. Any questions or?
And what is this, what's the software for, Charlie?
So Placer AI is a, data company, basically. The best way for me to explain it is cell phone location data, completely anonymized. They don't know your name, they don't know your social security number, they don't even know your phone number, so there's no way to identify the owner of the cell phone. But they can do really neat stuff with it. One of the examples they gave us is they drew a geofence around the 23 Club, and they said, okay, let's look at these dates, these 3 days in July or June when they had a baseball tournament. And we would ask the software questions like, where did everybody who went to the 23 Club on those days, where did they come from? And we could see on the map that they came from North Platte, Cheyenne, Rapid City, Gillette, Casper, and we could ask the question, how many nights did they stay in town? They stayed 4 nights, 4 days and 3 nights, or we could ask it, where did everybody go when they left the ball field? And they went to Hardy, or they went to Arby's, and they went to McDonald's, and they went to Culver's, and they went to Renza, and they went to the Hampton Inn, and we could dial it in and say, hey, where did these people stay the night? Well, 15% of them had to drive to Torrington for a hotel. 15% of them had to drive to Bridgeport for a hotel. 80% of them stayed at the hotels up there by the highway, that kind of stuff. So it's a really valuable software that will allow us to kind of see our ROI on tourism spend. This is a very granular program. We can get very detailed with the reports that we ask it to create for us. And TCD saw the value in their application of it, so it's.
Okay, after you have all that, where do you reap the savings, or where do you get the value from?
So we'll say something like, hey, we could draw a geofence, 23 Club, and we could go to a business and say, hey, look at these folks and all the people that are coming to town, and maybe it would behoove you to be a sponsor of this tournament. Or maybe, maybe they had this Horizon Music Festival out here south of town, the Christian Musical Festival, last late summer, and tourism gave them some money, and we can study that event. Where did people come from? Where did they go? Did they go home after the event? Did they stay in a hotel after the event? Did they go out to eat after the event? What did they do before the event? And we can really see, is our investment in this event worthwhile? That's really kind of the direction we want tourism to move, make data informed decisions. So that's what we'll do with that data.
So are you thinking of engaging it this year or next year?
We would purchase it, next month.
Next year or
Next month.
Next month?
Yep, we'd get
So
started right away.
You're gonna use it for this year?
Yes.
But you haven't got the softball thing put together quite yet. Are you using it to gauge that or to monitor that, what you're wanting to do in the future?
Yeah, we'll start right away. We'll start gathering data right away. If we wanna go study, what a volleyball tournament in Casper does, to say, hey, maybe we need to bring a volleyball tournament to Scotts Bluff. Or if we go study what a triathlon does in, North Platte, what kind of people, what kind of night spend.
You can take this thing anywhere you wanna go basically
Yeah,
and encapsulate that?
Yeah, let's go study, if Horizon Music Festival wasn't here, let's say it was in Torrington, we could go study what it did in Torrington and say, maybe we need a similar event in our area, that kind of stuff.
Do you have to actually go, or you said you were drawing the geo?
You just go there on the map.
map.
Yep.
You're drawing what you wanna study, the area, okay.
Yeah, it's really, really interesting stuff.
Well, you had kinda made a presentation to us before, and I thought at that time we gave general consensus that it was interesting and that we would probably support it, and I think that was happened before. Certainly I would be supportive of the idea, and I guess tonight we have specific numbers and that it might be costing, and
That
75.
that could be used for a lot of other things too. I'm thinking of a significant event or incident, big fires, whatever. If fire agencies want, emergency management want to track to see how all that come together, they could do that.
A lot of different applications to it. Yep. Really, you're just limited by your creativity on what you wanna study on this thing.
So is this thing time sensitive? So I mean, when you plug into it, it's gotta be what's happening right now?
No.
Or can you back
No,
up to
we can
last
go back,
week?
I believe we can go back 7 years. I think they have 7 years of data.
So,
That's a long time.
Sheriff, are you listening to this? So if we had let's say we'd have an assault or a murder or somewhere, you could actually find out how many cell phones, who was at this thing, that. And you could actually trace who was all at this party.
Did you say they don't know, they won't tell you the cell number?
Right, yep, it's completely anonymous.
Right.
So, you know,
That's not good for you.
So in that case, it's not helpful to us.
you probably have access to some other sort of system
Well,
similar.
we would have, for us to determine who's incidents, geographical, it takes some search warrants for us to do that.
Well, the other thing, like what he's saying, if that's the case, it's not gonna be accurate. I have guys that work for me that have 406 numbers. They're from their phones out of Montana.
Yeah.
And so if they go to that ballgame, it's gonna show they came from Montana to that ballgame.
So what it does, Russ, is it knows where that cell phone sleeps. And so if you've got a 507 area code, but 352 nights out of the year, you're sleeping on Avenue B, it's gonna count you as a local attendee. It's not gonna count you as an out-of-town attendee.
So it's gonna give you an address on that?
No, it won't give you the address.
So how are you gonna know where it sleeps?
Well,
It knows.
it knows. It knows.
It knows,
It's just
but it
not
won't
gonna
tell
tell
you.
us.
It's not gonna tell
But
you
it's
the
gonna say,
exact
I think it's like an
Don't ask
80-foot radius, or there's a number, I can't remember what it was, but they can say, yes, within this 4-block radius, that's where that cell phone sleeps. Yeah. So, so one of the cool things was, they gave us or during the presentation, they told us there was a town similar to Scotts Bluff. A lot of their retail needs, people went to Cheyenne, or a place like Cheyenne, to do their shopping and get their Subaru serviced and that kind of stuff. And they, in this town, said, we want to build an Arby's. Tell us if we should build an Arby's, or give us indication. So they studied everybody that went to Cheyenne. Well, they found out that the people who went to Cheyenne didn't go to Arby's, they went to Chick-fil-A. So then they decided, we need to build a Chick-fil-A here in town instead of an Arby's. And they were able to find a franchisee and recruit and do all that kind of stuff, so that would be very valuable for an entity like TCD to provide that sort of data to their members. And, you know, they can also go to businesses who they don't have as members yet, and they can show them they can do some presentations and say, hey, this is the kind of data we can get for you if you're a member of TCD. Certainly it might be worth your while to join TCD, and then they can grow their membership that way. And I just wanna put a plug in here. TCD has been a tremendous partner here in the last 18 to 24 months. Just really super with, and really pleased with the direction that they're heading and also their willingness to help the county.
So how will this help TCD? What's it gonna do for them?
I'd say
So-
we just need more examples for TCD than for.
Yeah, so remember.
That restaurant thing.
That restaurant thing, so, you know, they can, I mean, it's just endless, it's really endless, I mean, it can, but that story I just told about the, you know, determining a Chick-fil-A or an Arby's, what do I build on this empty lot here?
So that'll give them,
workforce development, because I think they could be able to see like how far people commute, like how much of a pull we have in, like to be able to go work somewhere, so that when they go to pitch, they can say, our workforce, you know, our community may be X, but our workforce is Y, based on that, so there might be an example.
Yeah,
There's a lot of
so
examples.
the city of Sydney uses the city of Sydney bought into this, and what they could have done 15 years ago is they could have said, hey, you know, look at all these, and they probably had this data otherwise, but, you know, they could say, there's 2,000 more people working in Sydney than living in Sydney. They knew that just because they knew what Cabela's payroll looked like. Well, TCD could do that for Scotts Bluff County and say, hey, you know, we've got 1,500 people from outside a 40-mile radius commuting to come work here. Let's build some more homes, or let's incentivize builders to build, or, you know, something like that.
all this accessible information, do you guys foresee to put someone on the payroll that we can use to go in there and start plucking that out of there and building some graphs and charts
Yeah.
of various things that we could use it for, so that when we run out of it, that we've actually got some sort of records
Yes, so.
instead of just using it day to day?
So I mentioned at the tourism meeting, a couple Wednesdays ago that, I would like tourism to hire some interns this summer. We had some interns 2 summers ago that helped with data collection and surveys of people who were visiting the monument and that sort of stuff. It was pretty labor intensive, and we just really needed bodies to collect that data. Well, now we have the software to collect the data, so I'd like to get a little more, I would like to, get some interns for this summer that could help us, you know, like a data analyst, someone who's studying data, who's trying to be a data scientist. They're working on their data scientist degree from the University of Nebraska or Wyoming or Shatter State, and they could come down here and really, pull the feathers out of this thing and see how much, how down in the weeds they can get with this software.
So what's the county share, about 60-some thousand, or where you at?
So the first year would be 12,500. The second year would be 14,000, sorry. The third year it would be $15,000. Coming straight out of tourism.
It's all coming out of tourism?
Yes.
So it doesn't affect our budget or anything? Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
Okay. So, let the record show, Russ doesn't have a problem with it. Well,
I'm not sure.
I don't think we better be doing
we're not
that.
gonna take a vote tonight,
I don't think
No,
we're
we
gonna
can't
let
do
the
that.
record show
Okay.
anything, but
but we'll, I'll be able to go to TCD on Wednesday and say, we're supportive, and we'll ratify at the next commissioner meeting, hopefully.
okay. Anything else, Charlie?
That's all.
Okay. So certainly the March 26th date, I think, several of us have already marked it on our calendar. I hope you have. Again, that's in Bridgeport. I think it's from 9 to noon,
And that's NACO?
NACO,
Okay.
Panhandle NACO.
Okay.
So,
I think our affiliates probably go till noon and then we get served lunch.
then lunch, yeah. That's the way it normally works, but I read 9 to noon and, yeah, then lunch, so,
But remember to stay and get fed.
yeah,
Remember what?
To stay and get fed.
yeah. If you wanna stay, or get fed.
Yeah.
Alright. I've mentioned to Charlie and to Lisa, but I'll mention it to all, I'm gonna be tied up some this week. I have a tourism, we're doing a state convention for, my other extracurricular activity, the Gideons, this week. And so I'm gonna be very unavailable on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and so, just want you to know that. It's right, the convention's right here in town, I'm helping put it on, and that's why I'm so tied up.
Okay.
And so just be aware of that. And I think that's all I have.
Well, I had, recent 22 board meeting, the 20th in Morrill. I had another one on the, this morning here at the comm center. And then I had, Operation Cleanup meeting on the 28th. That's going really well. Everything's falling into place.
What is the date of that again, Mike?
The event will be April 26th. One-day event.
April 26th,
Yes.
thank you.
There will be 12 zones. Scotts Bluff will have 5 zones. Gearing will have 5 zones. Terrytown will have 2 zones. And it'll be run like an emergency management operation where we're doing a cleanup after a disaster. So we're going to be training some ICs and some finance people and some logistics people. And we're also heavily involved in getting faith-based groups involved. In fact, I'm going to be talking to a church next week to explain it, and we will be doing a training before the event, 2 evenings, so people have an idea what's going on. We will use people from the CERT team to monitor those zones, and then we will be communicating with the amateur radio group. They'll be providing backup communications to the ISMET command. So we're doing 2 things. We're cleaning up the community, and we're also practicing for after a disaster. We got a great emergency manager. We got great first responder teams in our community, and we're all working really well together to make things much better. This is one of the things we're doing to do this. And we're also having Blue Cell group coming in on April 7th, and they will be doing a PIO training in the morning. There's several people from the county going to that PIO training. Then in the afternoon, we'll be doing some training for the command and control group in the disaster. So then I have a housing board meeting on the 4th. And then on the 26th, I went to a presentation by the Nebraska Commission for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing. I represented the first responder community, and we shared issues with communicating with hard of hearing people and what the commission is doing. And I'm working with a friend of mine who's the certified interpreter, and we're coming up with some handy tools for first responders when they encounter hard of hearing people. So it's pretty cool. Other than that, I haven't had a thing to do.
Okay, Russ?
I have, most of my meetings are this week. I've got 2 meetings this week. I had the airport board meeting last week. Yeah, it was last week. Like week before last week. Well, it was last week. Seems like weeks all run together on me, but, yeah, we got that 2 put in this morning. We went out this morning. Steve had that all lined up. He had to shut down 2 power lines. We had 2 big power lines converging. He had to shut down a WAPA line and a city line in order to get a crane in there and set that 2 right between 2 big power lines where they come right to a beat. He had that all organized just like it should be, and it went really well today, so. Yeah,
Pretty much it? Okay. Charlie, any legislation items we need to be aware of? I know, I see NACO had sent an email not too long ago about some of the things they're following.
They
So-
send us one every Friday, I think.
Right, yeah, we all get one every Friday, I think,
Yeah.
so,
541's coming up on Wednesday in government.
okay.
committee hearings.
Alright. They're still, working on inheritance tax things, so.
I'm
I
worried
know
about
they're following that pretty
Camp
close.
County.
Lisa?
Last year you wanted to discuss changes in the budget process.
Okay.
Should I put that on an agenda? To be discussed, how would you like me to handle it, or?
You know, I suppose that, you could put it on a future agenda and then simply, I guess, for all of us, if we have things to say, that'll give us an official opportunity to give comment.
So go ahead and do it.
And then that way, we can't say we didn't have an opportunity to give input, okay? Sounds good? All right, anything else?
Call it.
Yeah. Hearing no other business, we'll adjourn.
59.
Okay. Sent you some stuff, I'll try to reach
Not
you.
bad.
Sorry, I
Not
was
bad.
Yeah, I just kinda
Yeah.
started.
That's good. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.